Emery, it is very entertaining for me to watch and listen to these prognosticators, so many of them eventually coming around to things you've been saying for a while. Even my boy Greg Cosell said on Thursday last week from the combine. Now, he didn't quite say that he had Levis as QB 17, but he did say in talking with the quarterback coach, they think that Levis is more of a second round quarterback, which is a lot different than what you've been hearing over the last couple weeks.
Yeah, and the thing is, man, I always wonder, how do these things tend to start? In a lot of times we see people carry their narratives or their positions all throughout the season. It starts in the beginning of the year, and they kind of curate everything around their initial position. Like, for whatever reason, Will Levis started as a top quarterback in his class, right? And people held on to that all throughout the season and started to make excuses or adjustments to why he wasn't having this breakout explosive season. And it was the OC left, the offensive line is not that good, no really weapons on the perimeter. They always say you go check his 2021 tape, but if you go back and check that tape, it's the same as the tape we just watched in 2022. So it's kind of, that's why you saw such pushback on when I talked about Anthony Richardson, from those that already had Bryce Young and CJ Stroud, cemented in, chiseled in as 1 and 2, as if there was not a possibility of another guy usurping them. We see this every year with the quarterback position. So that's why you don't really have any strong positions, in my opinion, right out of the gate, because things happen and things could change.
Well, we'll get to the quarterbacks momentarily. And in fact, we're going to get to some of your deep sleeper quarterbacks a little bit later in the show. But because the combine just ended and it is such a big event on the pre draft calendar, next up it'll be the pro days. We did kind of want to go through position by position and get your thoughts on some of the guys at the combine. Let's start, I guess, with the order in which they worked out. Thursday was the D line and the linebackers, Emory. Obviously, some of the guys that really are getting a lot of attention are, I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name of the D tackle from Northwestern, DN. No idea. I don't know if you know how to say it. There's a lot of A's, a lot of E's, bunch of W's. Anyway, he's a freak. But the Pitt D tackle, Cansey was impressive. Jack Campbell, the Iowa linebacker, and a lot of people, of course, talking about Nolan Smith, the edge rusher for Georgia, in a positive light. What did you take from the D line and linebacker groups?
And that's the workout I sat in on. It was, it's the first time in the combine that the media was actually to go and watch. We're able to go and watch the workouts. So we were sitting there watching, and you wonder. They had us offset behind the 40, toward the end of the 40-yard dash. So it's not like we could sit there and time guys ourselves or get our own splits. So you're just kind of watching, guys work out. But I was shocked at how fast Nolan Smith ran. And remember, this is someone that didn't particularly play a lot this year, got injured, and basically became an assistant coach, but came out there and busted 4.4. And when we're watching the replay on the jumbotron, it's like, wow, like he really was able to pick him up and put him down. And I haven't gotten that far yet to grading defensive players. I'm still working through the rest of the tight ends. I should be done today, or at least early tomorrow. Then I move to offensive line. But I'm expecting his tape to show 4.44 speed, because that's always the beauty of this whole process. You want to see if guys are playing as fast as they time, or if guys are playing as slow as their tape suggests. So that was the biggest thing for me, seeing him run that 4.4 and just like, wow, like, man, imagine someone coming off the edge with that level of twitch and explosiveness. I hope that's what it looks like on tape.
Yeah, I will say this. He's pretty little for an edge rusher. I mean, 6'2", 238. I mean, there's a bunch of off the ball backers that are bigger than him. You know, Jack Campbell was 6'4" and 5'8", 249 pounds.
Right.
So different players, different positions, but I guess I would say if you're going to be 238, 6'2", 238 as an edge rusher, you better be really explosive because
You
that
won't.
is pretty little. I
You
mean, I can't think. I mean, Reddick weighs at least 245. I mean, even the guys that they compare him to are bigger than that. What else jumped out about either the D line or the linebackers, Emory?
sticking with the linebackers, love the workout that Deion Henley put out there on the field from Washington State. You know, there's someone that stood out to me at the Senior Bowl. I said he had a week similar to that of Fred Warner, and I thought his workout was just like what we saw down in Mobile. So I think his postseason is starting to trend upwards. And I know you can't really uh, put a hot take out there and say, hey, this is based off what I just saw. Again, I hadn't graded his tape yet, but based off what I've seen, when you get down into the back end of the first round, top of the second, I think that's where he's probably going to end up going. He's someone that really works well and coverage well, and is athletic. He's fluid in his athleticism. Went through the bag drills rather well. So I love this postseason process for Henley.
Anybody else D line or linebackers jump out, Emory?
No, that was it for me. Like just watching those guys, and um, it's fascinating when you watch who works out, who doesn't work out, who's saving what for pro day and who's not. But I just thought the linebackers, and to go back to Nolan Smith, he's probably now more in that conversation of being mainly a Sam backer as opposed to being a pure hand in the dirt edge guy. And again, Sam, you're still going to be able to rush the passer, but you're playing over the tight end for the most part. So going back and watch his bag drills, his positional drills, see how well he performed would be something that I would definitely partake in after once I get to his that position.
Let's go to day 2, and that was the corners and the safeties. By the way, there's a lot of Illinois guys.
Oh my
I
God.
mean, this is the most Illinois guys that are good players I can remember the whole Illinois secondary is there. I mean, well, how did that happen? Was that Lovie Smith recruiting like 4 years ago? I mean, he knows what a DB looks like, evidently.
Yeah, and the crazy part is we talked to Chance Brown. What's the DB?
Chase is the running back.
We talked to his brother, the defensive back up there on the podium. I'm not on the podium at CBS, and I was like, man, selfishly, I wish all of you guys, were going back the following season, because I felt like this team was 1 year a little bit too early. Like Illinois probably could have been outstanding next year. And did they feel that starting to happen? He was like, yeah, we just, obviously they give you that we put in the work and all that stuff like that, but they kind of knew that they were going to be good this past season. But what really stood out to me was, and I'm surprised he's getting this amount of buzz now, and justifiably so, but he stood out to me as a true freshman when they threw him out there during the COVID year, and that was Christian Gonzalez, the corner of Oregon. Like when he was at Colorado, I was like, wow, this dude a freshman, 6'2", 100 whatever pounds, and out there competing. And how they do with a freshman, they try to throw at him, but he was always able to showcase the length, the athleticism, and just the fluidity within his game. You saw that when he was running. I think he was one of the few guys. You know how guys are, because they put so much emphasis on the 40-yard dash, and you saw how tense everybody's running because they want to run that fast time because they know how much it means. Gonzalez got up there and just fluidly ran his time and ran fast, like he was at ease, like he's comfortable with who he is as an athlete. And I thought, again, the athleticism, the fluidity, the range, combined with what we saw on tape, and I'm talking about just from a live viewing perspective, I thought he had an impressive workout.
Yeah, I mean, he was one of the guys that a lot of people were talking about. How about DJ Turner running a 4.26 40 from Michigan? He can fly as well. But Gonzalez is 6'1.5", 200 pounds, running that 4.38, 41.5-inch vertical, 11'1" broad jump. He's going to get drafted high.
Oh, he
You
will.
have those numbers, he's going to get drafted really high.
He's going to be a first rounder, in my opinion, like a let's say a top 15 pick. When you talk about those height, weight, measurable speed, fluidity, ball skills, and how he looked in the defensive back drills. Oh yeah, it wouldn't surprise me to see him be the first corner off the board, based off how he checked out, and just from you love seeing how these guys competed out there, and DBs are going to run fast, DBs are going to compete, but you talk about Gonzalez and the fact that he's been able to continue to get better at every stop, every year, going from Colorado to Oregon, like by far, in my opinion, the most impressive. I was upset we didn't get to talk to Weatherspoon because he got tied up with the medicals, and so we didn't get a chance to see him come over to our set and get a chance to speak with him. But yeah, Illinois and I love how everyone that we talked to from Illinois, because we talked to the safety as well, Quan, I believe, and everyone everyone from Illinois had that dog in them, that they just like, oh yeah, we were able to play multiple spots in the secondary. We play a lot of zone. But I want to come out here and show I can, play man if necessary. I can play safety. I can play down inside. Like, I love the versatility and the confidence from everyone from Illinois in that secondary that we were able to talk to.
Let's move on. Unless you have anybody else, cornerback, safeties, we can move up on the cornerback, wide receiver, tight end.
Yeah.
Okay. Cornerback, wide receiver, tight end. Quarterback, wide receiver, tight end. Well, I was laughing while Anthony Richardson was putting the big numbers up because, to your point, I mean, you were on this before the season started, but now I don't know that anybody knew he would jump that high at that weight, but we knew he was going to be big and we knew he was going to be fast.
I was shocked that because we were discussing, like, okay, we're thinking 230, we're thinking, guys cut weight. And I went to, I wasn't on set that day, but I went there anyway to see if I can probably get a question in at the podium, because the guys on the set had him coming to the stage. And so when he came to the stage, he's standing next to Danny Cannell, and Cannell is close to 6'4". I thought Cannell was 6'4", but Cannell is like 6'3" and almost 6'4". But he had like a good, 2 inches over, maybe even 3 inches over Cannell. I was like, wow, that's crazy. Like, I just thought he was, closer to 6'3" and 6, some change, or maybe 6'4". So, but he was lean. And so when he measured in at 244, this was Saturday morning, I'm on set, and I'm like, man, you think he's gonna run? Now that he weighed in at 244, like, I thought he was gonna be like 230, maybe 228 for the combine, because he looked lean when I saw him in person. And I'm like, I wouldn't run if I were him at 244, because you figure that's why Bryce Young didn't run, because he checked in at 204. I was like, he's never ran with that weight, so he just want to use that weight to measure in, and then drop the weight, and then run at his pro day. So I was like, I'll be shocked if he runs, or if he does run, he's probably going to run 4.5. Man, when he got out there and ran at 4.44 and jumped 40 inches at 244 pounds, that's just ridiculous, man. Like, that shows you explosiveness, power. He's a very good athlete, and he's carrying that 244 rather well. So, looking at how he's built, obviously we know he's someone that can stay in the pocket, take a shot, and deliver the football. But physically, it was just impressive to see him measure up.
Yeah, he was very, very impressive. Reportedly, and I don't know what this means, but reportedly he was very impressive with the team interviews as well, Emory.
That was also surprising, because we know this, Ross. Every year when it comes to these athletic quarterbacks, you start to hear the whispers after people see them at the podium. Oh, well, he's not. I heard he's doing poorly in interviews. Oh, I heard he's doing poorly on the whiteboard. So it was a pleasant surprise to hear those rumors come out and him doing. I was like, wait a minute, has racism ended? Like, what? This is crazy. This is phenomenal to see. So, but it also shows you how important it is for guys to understand what their job is and understand how important this whole process is, because nothing gets protected, right? Everything is going to get leaked. Whether or not you had time out. Let's rewind back to the Jalen Carter thing, because Ross, I've never seen this before ever, right? So we were on set getting ready to interview Will Anderson. And so we're introducing ourselves to Will Anderson. He's coming up, sitting down. And before he sits down, so the D line is walking up to the podium to speak. Before he sits down, I look out there on the floor. When I say at the same time, everybody on the floor did this, like look down at their phone as D linemen are getting up there. And we're like, what the hell going on? Then the producers, showed her phone like this. I was like, oh, snap. Like, what just broke? Like, so everybody got the Jalen Carter story at the same time. So naturally, he's not going to get up on a podium. He's going to be already on a flight back to Georgia. I had never seen that. So I said all that to say nothing is held at the combine. So I'm glad to see that positive things were leaking out about Richardson in the classroom and at the whiteboard, and how he's carrying himself and interviewed. Because we also heard things about CJ Stroud and how well he was doing as well. So yeah, if you are a young high school senior going into college, everything that you do is in preparation for this particular test. The combine is the biggest open book test. And if you don't ace all parts of it, you failed.
Any other thoughts on any of the quarterbacks, receivers, or tight ends?
I know we spoke about first of all, I was impressed with Laporte, the Iowa tight end, Sam Laporta.
Yeah, Sam Laporta.
I just don't understand where Iowa finds these guys. Like, there's a legit tight end factory at Iowa, just fluid, just athletic. He was someone's tape I had graded prior to the combine started, so I'm not surprised to see how fluid he was and how well he did the drills. Is a lot of the guys that I had really pegged as good blocking tight ends. Unfortunately, the combine is not going to show you how good of a blocker you are, because you're going against bags. So it's still kind of an unfair drill to the non-athletically inclined tight ends, but I was glad to see Laporta do well. In terms of wide receiver, it's funny to hear every agent tell you prior to the combine, oh, my guy's running 4.4. He's been clocking 4.4 at training. Like, okay, like I know how fast 4.4 is. Not everybody's running 4.4, and that's fine. I think some people were shocked at how much Jordan Addison weighed, and like, wait a minute, man, he never was like 190 pounds. He's going to always be like that. It's like they were shocked at the corner from Mississippi State that weighed in at 166. Like, okay, cool. He was skinny on film, but was not skinny is those 6 pick sixes and those 14 interceptions. That's rather fat. You know what I'm saying? That's very healthy. I don't care if he's 166. I don't care if Jordan Addison is 176. Like, weight is easier to gain once you get older. Like, they're going to find weight to put on these dudes. I'm not worried about that at all.
2 shout outs I got to give out, Emory, for different reasons. How about Andre Yosavas, the receiver from Princeton, at 6'3", 205? He ran a 4.43, but he also had a 39-inch vert, 10'8" broad, but he had the second fastest short shuttle of any of the receivers behind Jackson Smith and Jigba, who, by the way, had a great workout, had by far the best short shuttle. But for Yasavas at 6'3", 205, to have the second best short shuttle, that's impressive, because they knew he had long speed from track, but you didn't know about his change of direction. And then the next guy, Zach Kuntz, I saw him play high school basketball. I can walk there from my house right now. I can walk there. He was only in 10th grade, maybe 11th. They're playing some Philly school. He had a couple of dunks. He had some blocks. Well, it makes sense. 6'7.5", 255. He jumped 40 inches, Emory. At 6'7.5", 255. Ran a 4.55 40, 10.8 in the broad jump. He's a multiple state champ in the 110 high hurdle. So he's got that background as well, but he is a legit athlete. Let's move on. Last but not least, how about the O-line and the running backs, Emory, your specialty?
Why even have the O-line do the 40-yard dash? What a waste of time, right? Like, just have those guys do the bag drills and bag workouts, because no one wants to see offensive linemen run the 40-yard dash. It's just not conducive to them having success. You could have them run maybe a 15-yard dash or the 20-yard dash, if anything. So I feel like that's a drill that we can eliminate for the linemen. But I love seeing those guys go through the bag drills. But it was just fascinating to see the big kid from Ohio State run his 40, because like he and Kuntz, for whatever reason, like Kuntz was somebody I graded coming into this week. And you know how, like, when you try to find, when you're watching film, okay, this guy's wearing a towel, this guy's wearing like red gloves, this guy has, one sleeve on his leg, but the other sleeve is not. Kuntz was so easily to identify on ODU film. Like, he was the tallest dude on the field. He kept getting taller as the game went on. The same thing with the big kid from Ohio State, DeJuan Jones. Like, how large of a human is he, man? And then just running, it was like watching the Incredible Hulk just run down the field, man. But O-line drills was something that I love the drills. I just hate the 40. And running backs, I was shocked at how many guys chose not to run. Like, I was shocked that Deuce Vaughn didn't run the 40. I felt like that was an area that he could have, stole the show. Like, bro, your job, your whole thing is quickness. Like, yes, he looked explosively quick in the bag drills. I was shocked he didn't run. I was shocked that Spears didn't run, because I like Spears' re-acceleration. He has the ability to hit that second gear when he takes off. So I was just shocked that some of the guys chose not to run, but chose to participate in the bag drills. Like we kind of know you're fast, and Deneric Prince shocked me with his speed, because his whole run style was so unorthodox, and how he ran the 40, that when he clocked 4.41, I was like, there's no way that's correct. And then he runs it again for the second time, like, wow, it just his running gait wasn't conducive to him running that fast. So imagine if he was able to streamline it, probably could have hit 4.3.